It's Watercolor Jumpstart, episode 12, and it's a 2-for-1 special, and I'll explain that here in a bit. But the original concept for the 12th part in this series was to do that, I don't know what it's called, loose floral might be what you might call it. I call it the floral watercolor like greeting card style. And I hope that doesn't come off to sound too rude, because I know it's really popular, which is why I wanted to attempt to do it and why I wanted to talk about it. And so the gist of this style is you use your brush shape to kind of make some floral-like kind of areas of color. You are pretty loose with it. You put down your water and then you drop like a pink in the middle, and then it fans out or it like spreads out across your little petals. And there's a lot of artists who approach this style. It's a great way for beginners to learn, and I know there's a lot of interest in it, which is why I was like, well, I should learn about painting in this style, because it comes up a lot when I teach classes where someone will show me the things that they've been working on and it's in this style. I know there's a lot of books on it. Jenna Rainey is the artist that I follow on social media, who seems to have a really big following, who works in this style. But I'm going to leave that up to the pros, because I don't particularly think I did a good job. It definitely looked like someone who was like, I'm going to give this a go, and like isn't necessarily very good at it. And honestly, it's not my visual like aesthetic at all. Like I don't like it for me. And part of this project is that I want to teach y'all things, but the other part of this project is I legitimately want this to look cool hanging in my studio. I think I'm going to do I'm going to have a bonus episode of how I'm going to like hang and display all these pieces together. And I want it to look cool, and I truly hated what I created. So I was like, all right, I'm going to do this in my style. I'm still going to stick with the theme of stylized florals, but I'm going to do it my way. And I think that there's something to be said for that. I think it's good to try things and, do an exploration and see how other people are approaching things. But at the end of the day, if it's not your thing, it's not your thing. And maybe that's really obvious to all of y'all normal people, but I don't know if it's just because I'm psycho or if it's because I feel like as an art instructor, I need to be a little bit of a jack of all trades. And so I see things and I'm like, oh, I need to be able to paint like that. Like I need to do those super loose landscapes like what Steve from Mind of Watercolor does. I need to paint like that. And it's like, no, I don't have to paint like that. Like, no one's making me. I'm not teaching a landscape class. Why do I have to know how to paint like that? You know what I mean? I feel like to truly be like some form of great, I have to know how to do everything, which is very silly. So I went and approached this a second time in a way that felt more true to what I find pleasing. So you saw me sketch this all in with a pencil. I don't know, anytime I freehand stuff, it's not quite right. And I like that a pencil gives me the opportunity to erase if I need to, although I really don't like to do that on watercolor paper. But it turned out fine. And like, I'm not super uptight about plants because, as you heard me say before, plants are pretty flexible as a subject matter. So I went and sketched it in, got a composition that I really liked. I put that pale pink background in, and then of course, my thoughts on green in this series, how I don't want to include it. So I thought that blue was a fun, stand-in for green. So I'm quite happy with the way this one turned out. I'm using the quinacridone burnt orange has been a wonderful stand-in for a brown because it is a deeper, warm, dark color, but it's still a color. Like it's a red, even though it's called orange. And then I'm mixing up my fave color. Oh no, I'm using yellow here, putting some little dotty things. And this is why I really like to take florals and kind of break them down into basic shapes where like those leaves are little diamonds and lines and dots. Like that's all we have so far, but we still have something that looks like a floral. And I think that looks really cool, and it looks kind of modern. The more I do this, the more I realize that I like kind of nice defined shapes. And so that whole look of like having some loose markings make up a flower, like in that first painting that you saw, is just not my thing. So these are all simple shapes. I'm just kind of approaching it. Oh, you see me do it at the bottom. I was like, do I want to do little rose things? And I'm like, nope, we're just gonna do circles. So everyone has their own style. I'd be curious to see how you approach this project. If you're like, no, I really love the watercolory greeting card look, definitely look up someone else's tutorial because they can give you really great tips, or there's a lot of really wonderful books on that subject. I'm just not the right person to share that with you, and that is okay. We don't have to spread ourselves so thin. We can just focus on our areas of interest. So if that meant anything to you, give this video a thumbs up. If it didn't, but you're happy that you got to see 2 paintings in one video, also give this a thumbs up. And like, subscribe, use the hashtag JumpstartWithJenny on social media, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye!